everybody, and welcome to my guest, Renée Quinn, who I do have to say is a proud mama of a litter of the most precious little baby dogs that I just saw. And look at that smile. So welcome, Renée. So glad to
Thank
have
you.
you. And I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about you, your background, and just the name of your company, and just some highlights as to how you got where you are.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. Thanks so much for having me. So, our company is IP Watchdog Incorporated. We run the #1 intellectual property publication in the US, potentially in the world as well, but definitely in the US. My husband is a patent attorney, and he started the publication many years ago to highlight all of the things that happen in the intellectual property industry. And I run the day-to-day operations of the company. I wear many hats, so I handle all of the HR, payroll. We do many events, and I run all the events. I'm the people person. I'm the face of the company, so I'm the one who's greeting everyone when they come in, and that's what I do, and I love it. I just absolutely love it.
That sounds phenomenal. And is there any kind of a coincidence that IP Watchdog has something to do with
Uh,
your love of dogs?
It's funny. Everyone says that. I don't think so. When he originally started it, again, it stood for Intellectual Property Watchdog. It just
Hmm.
happens to be that we both love dogs. We actually have 6 German short-haired pointers, and 2 of them together just had this second litter of 8 puppies. So yeah, we just love dogs, and they're just amazing, amazing animals.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, welcome to Under the Hood.
Thank you.
And we talk a lot about in Under the Hood a number of things. And since you wear many hats, I am sure that you have ideas and experience on a lot of them. One of them is conflict, one of them is pressure, one of them is really who is the person who you said you're the face of the company, and that has a lot of responsibility to it, I am sure.
Yeah.
So I always like to start out with the question of tell us a little bit about your family of origin, your background, and the behaviors and values and patterns that you learned that brought you to actually where you are today.
Oh, yes. So we come from a very large family.
Hmm.
My father, Richard is his name. He had several wives and many children. So my dad's third wife is my mother. So my mother's Puerto Rican, my father's Italian. I was raised in the Bronx with my brothers and sisters. There's 10 of us in total. We are very family oriented. It's a very large family. My father had 4 brothers, and there were 4 brothers all together, and
Hmm.
we were always together. We spent a lot of time every holiday, and even in between. It was all about family, food, fun. We always hung out together, spent a lot of time. And so when I became a mother, that was very important to me. I made sure that my
Hmm.
son was always around his cousins, and spending a lot of time with them, because family's just so important. And I feel that that has been very highly incorporated into the way I run our business, because our business is very family oriented. We tell everybody they're part of the IP Watchdog family.
Yes,
So
yes, I can see it and feel it and feel it. So let me ask you also, how did your family deal with conflict? You got Italian, you got Latino, you got a lot of good energy there.
oh yeah. They never held back. Let's just put it that way. They didn't hold on to things. They said what was on their mind. Sometimes it wasn't always the nicest things, but
Mhm.
they didn't hold on to anger. They just dealt with it in the moment. And sometimes it would get very heated, but that's what
Mhm.
you deal with.
Mhm.
When I tell people that I'm Italian and Puerto Rican, they're like, "Oh boy," because it's 2 very
Yeah.
heated sides. But I learned a lot from that. One, I've learned how not to behave.
Mhm.
But at
Mhm.
the same time, I've also learned that holding on to things and just letting it simmer just makes it so much worse. So, dealing with the conflict as it's happening is the best way to handle it. It's not always the easiest, but it is
No,
the
it's
best
not
way to
always
handle
the
it.
easiest
Yeah.
at
Mm-mm.
all. Matter of fact, most people would avoid it with a 10-foot pole.
And for many years, I did as well.
Hmm.
I had a situation in our lives when I was little that really molded me not so positively for many years. When I was 6, my little sister died. Um,
Hmm.
I was there with her when she fell, and so that molded me for a very long time. And I was always trying to please
Hmm.
because I felt in my 6-year-old brain that I was to
Yes.
blame. Uh,
Yes.
and so it took many years for me to finally realize, okay, that it wasn't my fault. Uh,
Hmm.
and so I, was able to eventually move past that. But that was a difficult time in our lives. So,
I can imagine. I can imagine. And I can appreciate, given the work that I do and have done for so many years, that children frequently make it their fault. Whatever's going on in the family, whatever they can't control, whatever is
yeah,
happening, if only I were,
yeah,
if only I did, right?
yeah.
And so that leads me also to another question. In terms of being a woman in business, I have both fabulous men and fabulous women that I have interviewed, but we're different.
Mhm.
And some of the challenges are different. What has it been like for you, kind of moving into this position, kind of because I know that there's a background there before you became the operations person for your husband's
Yes.
business. Tell
Yeah.
us a little about that.
Yeah, so I was a single mother when I first met my husband, and so I played the role of mom and dad for many years. And trying to raise a son as a woman, it can be a challenge
Hmm.
in and of itself. Um, but I tried to learn from my bout with depression through my sister's death and other things to try to change the way I was with my child so that he didn't have to face the same things. Um, and over time, I think it helped me be a better mother and a better person overall,
Hmm.
because I wasn't afraid to share the inner parts of myself with my child. But that has also then manifested itself in the way I run our business. I'm very open and upfront. I'm very genuine. What you see is what you get with me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, my biggest challenge in life is I have ADD, and I have no problem telling people that I have it,
Hmm.
because sometimes it's very challenging, but the fact that I can do what I do with it, it's a positive as well. So I don't let it hold me
Absolutely.
back. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the, and I'm so glad that you bring that up because I remember a young man that I was working with, and I knew he was ADD because I could hear his, and he didn't have nobody had ever talked to him about it. And I said, well, why don't you go and read about it and come back and tell me if it fits you? And he came back and he said, it's me, it's me, it's me. I said, I know,
Mhm.
I know, I know. And let's find strategies to work around it. And so, kind of coming to it as an adult for many people is a whole other thing than coming to it as a child. So tell us, how do you deal with it? How does the ADD show up and how do you manage it?
So it's at its worst when I'm really tired. And so when we do our events, a lot of times I don't get a lot of sleep. When you're running events, you
Hmm.
don't. And
Hmm.
so it does manifest itself. The way that I deal with it best is I let people know. I do make a lot of notes, a lot of to-do lists. Do I always look at them? No, sometimes I don't, but I do try to check off the to-do lists. I've also learned over the years that I can really hyper focus on things,
Hmm.
which can be both good and both bad.
Hmm.
And so if I know I need to hyper focus on something, I'll close my door, I will shut off my phone and just really focus
Hmm.
on it. I've gotten a lot better at recognizing the issues over the years. I can't tell you how many times I'll go into the kitchen to get a drink, and then an hour and a half later, I come and sit down and I don't have the drink, but the kitchen's clean and the garbage is taken out. And it's the same thing in business. So I have a phenomenal team, and
Hmm.
it's a small team, but they're a phenomenal team. And I've been upfront with them from the get go, and I've told them I need your help. So
Hmm.
I've asked them to remind me about calls. So they've reminded me several times today about this call, even though I knew I wasn't going to forget it. And having a good support system is really important, but being honest about it has been very helpful. And that's how I've managed it. I tell people that it is an issue, and everyone's always happy to help in that regard. So,
Yes. So again, you bring out a really important point. One, you tell people, and also recognizing that people do actually like helping.
Yes.
Again, as women, we do that. We have a harder time. Well, I think men have. I have three sons, so I also have.
I have one.
I have that perspective, but many times we think that we don't want to be a burden on somebody,
Mhm.
and then you just flip it around. Well, if somebody asked you, would you help? Of course, I would help.
Yeah.
Of course, I would help.
Well,
So,
I've
as a
learned it.
leader, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Sorry, I've learned it's a little bit more of a burden to them to not know than it is for
Yes.
them to know. Uh, because sometimes when I'm stumbling over words or I can't catch my thoughts, they don't understand. They try to fill in the blanks for me, and that actually makes it more difficult. So by letting them
Hmm.
know about this little challenge that I have, it
Hmm.
just makes it easier for everybody all around. So, and everyone
Beautiful.
really appreciates that I'm willing to share that.
And honestly, if you scratch the surface, do you have any idea how many people suffer from the same thing?
Oh, I'm
And
sure. And I
yeah.
discovered mine because my son was being diagnosed. And as I was going
Hmm.
through the testing for him, I'm like, well, I've got that and I've got that.
It's
So,
all over my family,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I am extremely familiar with all the issues. And truly, as we get more busy and as we get older, we all have some of these qualities.
Yeah. We all have those
Um,
tendencies. I agree.
we really do,
Yeah.
because the mind can only hold so much,
Hmm.
and
And
when
we
it
can
gets
juggle a lot.
we miss things.
Yeah.
We
We're
really do.
human.
Yes, we are. So asking for help and having a team that's supportive, um, because somebody asked me, like, why do I do this podcast, and what do I want to impart to people? And it's really about people who kind of work their way into a leadership position. Many times people say, oh, they're so lucky. Not just luck. Luck
No.
can,
Yeah. Luck
can
is a
get in
very
there.
small part of it. Yeah.
That's right. The hard work, the effort, the self-awareness, which is, again, from my perspective, this is the key,
Yeah.
right? So how is, and you've talked a little bit about it, but tell us a little bit more, even how the self-awareness, how that works for you, such that you
Yeah.
were able to do such a good job.
So I'm going to tie it back into my childhood. So again, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Italian. I can be hot-headed.
Hmm.
And I can overreact like most people can. And with having the ADD, sometimes it's even worse. And there's been situations where I have been inappropriate. I might have snapped at someone, even though they did nothing wrong. I have a great story that I share with everybody about one time we had traveled with me, my husband, and my son. We get to the hotel and things weren't as they were supposed to be. And I kind of flipped out on the hotel staff. I walked away. My son was standing there and he said he just apologized to them. 30 seconds later, I turned around, I came back and I said, I am so, so, so sorry.
Hmm.
And they were shocked because people don't
That's
apologize.
right.
And so that was the biggest part for me with the awareness, was to realize that yes, I am human and I do make mistakes, but when I make those mistakes, I have to make them right. And
Hmm.
apologizing to someone and saying, it's not your fault. And when they tell me it's okay, I tell them, no, it's not okay.
Hmm.
My
Hmm.
behavior was inappropriate. It was not okay, but I do apologize. And people really appreciate that. So
Yes.
I've gotten a lot better at that over the years. Once in a while I don't, and I feel really awful, but
Hmm.
sometimes I'll say things matter of factly, and I don't think, and it comes out very curt. And so
Hmm.
when I do catch those things, I try to always apologize. So
Right.
being aware of that is important because I've learned over the years to never judge a person with the first encounter that you have with them, because they could be
Hmm.
going through the worst day of their lives and you just don't know
Right.
it. Um, and there's been many people that I've given second and third chances to, and they've become amazing people in my life because
Mhm.
I've given them those opportunities. And you just never know how you're going to impact someone else's life.
No, you
So,
don't.
yeah.
Yes, all so incredibly, incredibly important. One of the things that, and you mentioned this, sometimes we're not perfect and we do things, but we get into trouble when I do a lot of work around conflict, and I really kind of look at, well, what's causing it. It's very easy to blame.
Yes. And it's shocking how many people do.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Just that one piece. You did this and you did that, and when you blah blah blah, and that just gets the ball rolling because
Yeah.
it puts somebody on the defensive. It's an attack. It's
Hmm.
not me, it's you. And then on the other side, they'll come back and they say, no, 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 it's not me, it's you. And then, and then I always think about, well, you just bombed this country. What do you think is going to happen? You know, are you surprised?
Yeah, I'm proud to say that in almost every position I've held over my entire career, even way back in the day when I worked in retail, I've always been very good at conflict and handling it. And so I would often be that go-to person when someone was
Mm-hmm.
being really difficult, and I could almost always, bring the temperature down pretty quickly. And a lot of that is just being empathetic and validating of other people's feelings. But you don't necessarily have to validate someone's feelings by telling them they're right. You can tell them you understand.
Yes.
Uh, and over the years, again, like I said, I didn't like who I was becoming for a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I decided that I wasn't going to let myself continue to be that way. And again, like I said, you never know how you're going to impact someone's life, and little things that people have done that have impacted my life have
Mm-hmm.
I've learned from them. And so that's why I actually had a call earlier today. We're going to be on a panel and we're talking about mentorships, and um, part of mentoring is just being a role model, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't expect people to treat you one way if you're not willing to treat everybody the same. And,
Absolutely.
and that goes back to the family life. We were always about family. So when people come to our business, I treat them like they're part of our family. I
Yes.
bake all the cookies for our events, and I try to make people feel comfortable and welcome.
Yeah.
So,
And so one of the things that you're talking about, you may not have mentioned it, but it really is about having emotional intelligence, you
yes.
know, and for people that do, it's very easy to see the impact of other
Mhm.
people. It's very actually easy to predict what
Yeah.
is most
Yeah.
likely going to happen. Just even though your son, apologized for you, he
Yes.
saw the impact. And
Yeah.
so for those of us and that, I never knew it was a skill. I never knew it was a gift. I never knew it was anything. It was just, how can you not see it? It's right in front of you. I don't know. But not everybody has that skill. And so what's your thoughts about teaching that side? We call it the human capital. I don't like this word soft skills because I think these are very, very important skills that drive the business. I mean, they drive everything, right? You're yelling at people, they're going to leave you.
Right.
You're kind
Exactly.
and you take them in as family, they're going to stay with you. They're going to respect you. They're going to trust you. So what's your take on training other people, mentoring other people in your company, and how do you kind of look at that?
I think so much of it is by example. So, for example, with that situation at the hotel, the fact that I came back and apologized, my
Hmm.
son to this day still talks about that. That
Hmm.
was such a learning moment for him. And whenever I'm talking with my employees about anything, I try to think about, what they're going to say when I walk away. That has
Hmm.
always, people ask you, what do you want your legacy to be? For me, I want people to think of me as being one of the most genuine and kind people
Hmm.
that they've met. That's important to me. And so when I work with my employees, even if I'm talking to them about something that was done incorrectly, if I did the same thing at one point, I'm going to tell them I did the same thing and I've learned from
Hmm.
that mistake. Or I'll give them other examples. So by showing them that I'm human too, and I know that
Yes.
they're human, has gone a long way. One of our newest employees today on a phone call told the group we were talking to that she really looks up to me, and it just really felt
Yeah.
good to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about maybe who has mentored you. Who was somebody that was just really impactful in your own growth and development?
well, the first person that really, really impacted me, believe it or not, was my 10th grade history teacher.
Hmm.
In ninth grade, I was a bit of a troublemaker. I didn't like school. I got suspended. I almost flunked biology. It just was not a good year for me.
Uh-huh.
Then, and college was never something I even thought about. Most of the people in our family have not gone to college. Many have since then, but
Hmm.
prior to my going, there was only one other person, which was my older sister, who had gone to college. And So I had taken this history class and I kind of had a crush on this teacher. So I, did my best I could, and we wrote these essays for the tests and so forth. And he approached me the one day and asked me if I'd ever thought about college prep classes, which today is now called AP classes. And I said,
Hmm.
and I went, me? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, no, I'd never thought of it. And then he says, well, why don't you try my class, see if you like it, try it for 2 weeks. If you don't like it, we'll put you back in the regular class. The fact that he was willing to give me a chance, he saw something in me that no one else had ever seen, was just, it made such an impact on my life. So needless to say, now I'm in his AP class and I'm doing the best I can to prove to him that I can do this, that
Yeah.
he made the right decision seeing something in me. And from that moment on, all of my high school classes were AP classes. And I went to college. So again, little things like that. So,
Yes.
I'm great with kids, especially teenagers, and we have a lot of them in our neighborhood. They love to come see the puppies.
Uh-huh.
And I mentor them as much as I can as well. I love when they ask me
Beautiful.
questions because then I can explain things to them. And it's
Beautiful.
just, again, I always keep that in the forefront of my mind, is you never know what kind of an impact you can have on other people. And I want my impact to be positive.
And with that, which is just so perfectly beautiful because you emulate we have a lot of work to do in this world. We
You
are
know,
very morally bereft.
mm,
And, when we look at what we as the next, as the older generation, and I am older, I'm a different generation even than you, what can we do?
yeah,
And you are doing it.
thank you.
You're looking at the kids, at your employees, and being real and being, one of the things that I learned a long time ago is people are attracted to people who are authentic.
Yes. And when they're not, it's so apparent.
It's so apparent. And yet
Yeah.
we try to cover up this and we try to cover up that, and it just kind of, just gets into a ball of wax. So I appreciate, Renee, you and the work that you're doing, and it does filter out. Everything comes from the top,
Mhm.
and you're making a great impression.
Well, thank you. Thank
And
you.
so I appreciate the work that you're doing. And how can people get in touch with you?
So, ipwatchdog.com, you can go to the website and check it out. And we have information on there for individual inventors. There's all kinds of free information. And they can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, and our main contact email would be contact@ipwatchdog.com. But yeah, check out the website, see what we do. And if you want
Beautiful.
to talk, reach out to me. It'd be great.
All right. And we'll have a lot of these in the show notes. And I thank you once again, for
Thank
you
you.
and your
Thank you so
work.
much for having me. I really appreciate it.
My
This was fun.
pleasure. Good. Bye for now.
Bye now.